Hello there. Welcome to our ATMOS introduction training. In this training, we will take a look to the commercial and the technical issues about ATMOS, about the use and about the installation, and also some Q&As, which are very important because some of you will switch, or some of your customers will switch from the existing ISGUI app to the new ATMOS, and there are some things to be clarified. So let's take a look to the slides. First of all, as you know already, I suppose, ATMOS, the Teletask app, is a multi-purpose control app. It's meant to control about everything, about all the integrated functionalities in your Teletask installation. So first of all, let's take a look to some commercial info about ATMOS. The software app is to be run on an Apple iOS device or an Android mobile device, let's say on smartphones and tablets. Managing all integrated functions, as I told you, there's an overview, lights, curtains, shades, all these integratable functions. And the app is based on a SaaS model. So to obtain the ATMOS app on the smartphone of the end users, you just have to install them from the different stores, like from App Store, for example, or Google Play Store. You just install ATMOS, Teletask ATMOS, and once it is installed, it can be finally configured. But ATMOS is not a free of charge app. You don't have to pay on the App Store, on the stores, but you pay on the TT Ecom platform, the Teletask e-commerce platform, as it is used and is working for the other subscriptions we have. So new with ATMOS is that there is not only a one-year renewable subscription, but there are 4 of them. So the customer can decide, okay, I want to limit my budget, and for example, a project developer who wants to offer smartphone control in his flats, he can say, okay, I will buy for my flat building an ATMOS subscription for 1 year for all my customers, and then after 1 year the customers can decide themselves whether they want to take an extra subscription, a renewal of a subscription, or they want to move maybe to a 3-year subscription, or a 5 or even a 10-year subscription. They can buy it at once. So then it becomes more like a fixed cost for 10 years for the app. For whom is app meant to be used? Well, as we see on the picture here, I would say from young to old, for girls, ladies, children, parents, grandparents, anybody. I'm not going to walk through the list here on this slide, but it can be used by anybody. People who are involved, for example, with just the convenience, but also people who are more close with security, with safety. Other people will focus on energy management. For all these people, the ATMOS is meant for. So what are the key features? It's a new design. We compare with ISGUI, with the older version. There's a theme selection, first of all. So you see, for example, here on the picture on the left phone, you see a black background. On the second one, you see more a white background. We see colors like more blue, more dark, more yellow. So there are several themes the customer can select himself in the app in the settings menu. Reload of new data. So if you have, as a system integrator, you do some changes for your customer, you download in the central unit, locally or from remote side, doesn't matter. Every change, for example, you have added a relay function to control an extra, let's say, wall socket in the garden. With the old ISGUI, you had to update also the data in your app. From now on, with ATMOS, you don't need to do that. So customer don't worry, is not worrying about it. If there's any change, it happens automatically on his ATMOS. ATMOS is also always connected. So the first time you start it up, it needs to connect, takes a few seconds. But once it's installed and it's there, customer will never have to connect anymore. It's immediately, instantly that he has his functions in reach. So even the connect button from the past in the ISGUI disappeared for that reason. The customer can start to control something from, first of all, to select a room. For example, if he wants to control the main light in the living room, he just selects on the main screen, selects the living room, and then he selects that main light, and he can switch it, dim it, whatever it is. But he can start. It's comparable for those who know the Opus touchscreen. The Opus touchscreen has also that approach. So there's a different way of going to a room. If you can see the mouse pointer, so if you click on the home button, you will get, first of all, you can't see it on the picture, but you will get all the rooms. But if you click on the icon beside of it, that waffle kind of icon, you start from the functionality. So then you get a screen with functions, for example, lights, wall sockets, motors, audio, cameras, this kind of menus. So you can say, if you want to have a quick overview of all the lights in and around your house, the customer clicks on the functions button, he selects the lights, and then he can scroll through all the lights of his house. So it's very easy also for some specific reasons, or to see whether all the curtains are closed or these kind of things, or to swap between the cameras. It's very convenient, like you see here on this second phone screen capture. You see the camera, but you can just slide with your finger over the camera left to right, and you see the camera names appearing and the camera picture, of course, as well. So you can start with rooms and functions. There's also a search button. We can't see it here. Here there's a looking glass. So there's a search button if you want to go, for example, typically and only very useful for large buildings. If you have a very large villa, or you have a large commercial building, for example, or office building, you can, if your rooms, for example, your rooms are offices and they have a certain name, you can easily find them. Or you have 5 bathrooms in the villa, you just type bath and you can get to your destinations much faster. You can also have alphabetical sorting of the room names, for example. So then you have the attic is before for example, the bathroom name. Not always what you need. You may prefer to have, you can decide that in ProSoft to have, for example, the most often used rooms on top of your screen and the less important ones below. And then it's not advisable to set it to alphabetical sorting. It really depends. The customer has a choice. That's the most important one. So fast scrolling between cameras, I mentioned that already. The location name, if the system integrator has called the house Robert and Louisa, for example, and the customer wants to call his location home because, for example, he has also another house, or maybe a holiday house or professional building with Teletask, he can give it his own names. And also there's a favorites screen. We'll see that later on. In the favorite screen, you can have, we call every function is like a card. And imagine this is the favorite screen here on the screen. Then you can take with your finger, you can click with your finger on the certain function and slide that card to another location on the screen. Maybe you want you want 2 front door lights on top of your favorite screen. Well, if they're not there by just adding favorites, you can just slide them to the proper position. For large villas and professional projects, we have something which is also new. You can work, of course, with different locations like it was the case with ISGUI, but now you can very fast slide or change between locations, so you don't have to exit the application and enter to another application. No, you can stay and just switch from one location to another. And you can work with sections. Sections is something really new. A section is like a floor, for example. If you would have a large house or an office building, and your large house is, for example, having 3 floors, 3 levels, you could say in ProSoft you can dedicate every room, or you can connect every room to a certain level. So, for example, you say my living room is on the ground floor section, and my master bedroom is on the first floor section, and while I have a loft, for example, on the second floor section. So what is the advantage? We will see that later on as well. There is a filter you can use. So before you go to functions, you can say, I want to see only the rooms on the ground floor, for example. It makes life easier for large installations. What are the typical ATMOS advantages? In short, we have 5 of them here, with some examples below of it. I'm not going to mention them. You can stop the video and read about it in detail if you like. So first of all, of course, extra convenience and comfort. Due to the app, you can use it at home, you can use it anywhere you are, from your car, from your holiday destination, from your office, or whatever, when you're shopping. It gives you a lot of convenience. An increased security feeling, because if everything is arranged fine in your house and you're out of the house, that will give a much better secured feeling. You know, there is no danger of fire, for example, because you switched off your wall sockets, etc. And if you're in doubt, you can check it on your mobile phone and be sure that it's like that. You know, some people want to double check. Well, you can, while you're leaving for holiday, for example, for a 2 weeks holiday, driving down the street already, some people are in doubt, oh, didn't I forgot to do this or that? Well, just take your ATMOS and it's right in front of you. Optimizing energy management, so the energy management features which are in the Teletask system, there are many of them, but you can, of course, also manually, I would say, fine-tune or check energy-related things. For example, car charging system. You are already in bed and you said, okay, I forgot to activate the system because I was waiting to lower the energy cost or whatever it is in your country. From the smartphone app, even when you're in your bed, when you're in the sitting in your chair at home, from any location, it's very convenient to optimize your energy management. And it decreases the stress level also for people. If you feel more comfortable, more safe, your energy well managed, it gives a lot of advantages. And of course, it's an increased general efficiency. If, for example, you have somebody coming to your home for an urgent repair, maybe you don't even have to drive home, because on your smartphone you can tell to the guy, okay, if you're there, just give me a call on my smartphone. I will open the garage door for you, for example, from remote site. I don't have to drive home, so it's very efficient, and not only efficient but also energy friendly. It's environment friendly. So that's all advantages you get with an application like the ATMOS. Let's take a closer look to the technical things. What are the facts? So here we are in this slide, we're talking about the reason why we go from ISGUI to ATMOS. You may ask yourself, okay, what is the real reason? Well, there is a practical reason, not only for the design, etc., but there's one big practical reason. So May 1st, 2023, there are no 32-bit apps allowed anymore on the Android Play Store. The ISGUI, the old version, is a 32-bit app, so it is not allowed anymore. So Android will take away the app from the App Store. It doesn't mean that the ISGUI will not work anymore for existing customers. It will not stop working, but it's not installable anymore. So if your customer needs to buy or wants to buy a new mobile phone and he wants to install the app, the ISGUI is not going to be possible anymore to install it. So be careful with that. Apple will also follow after a period. At this moment, we don't know yet when it will stop. But that's a very important reason why we need to go from 32-bit to 64-bit. Another reason also is that the latest Android mobile devices, like Google Pixel, for example, these are smartphones which only run 64-bit software anymore. So even if it would be on the store, 32-bit, you cannot install it anymore on these devices. So the result is that the Android application will disappear on the side of Android, and 32-bit cannot be run on these newest mobile devices, so we need to move to 64-bit. So ISGUI stops and we go to ATMOS application. Here we have some slides how it will look like on your smartphone, on the smartphone of your customers. So if you have the Rooms button and you have the Functions button, there's a small movie showing you. So here you click on the Home button and you have functions. Every function we call a card. So you have the different rooms. You can go from one room to another and control all the functions inside. But if you go here, then you see the functionalities. So we clicked on lights, the person, it's kind of fast. Or you click on another function here, like moods. You have an overview of all these functions which you have selected. Here we go back to the living room, etc., etc. So you can go forward and back and forward between these functions. So in this case, we have a small demo about lights controlling. So you click on a light which is switchable or dimmable, but there's some new functions about that. You will see it's far too much of functionalities and new functionalities to show in this short training video. I'm sure you will like all these new functions, like a dimmer, for example, is new. If you click on the left side of a dimmable light card, it will activate the dimmable light. If you click again on the left side, it will deactivate the dimmable light. But if you click on the right side of the same card, then he will do nothing and he shows you a slider, so you can dim up and down. It's very convenient to use one card in different ways, specifically for that dimming functionality. Of course, thermostats are also there. This is the visualization of a thermostat, for example. You can change by sliding with your finger on the temperature arrow here, or you can, of course, switch a zone on and off. You have the feedback of the temperature setting, the measured temperature, and also of whether the device is active or not. So you can see this here. And also the mode, if you have a heat pump system, it's cooling or heating, you can see these five. If you have also a speed setting, you can change the setting, etc., etc. So let's go to audio now. If you have audio, you have see a little animation. You can go to the different sources. You can select different presets, etc. Maybe important to know that in the early 2024, we will add a lot of audio functionalities as well. So they will also appear, of course, in the ATMOS. The theme selection. So here there's a small movie. You go to the settings, you go to themes, and you select the theme here, one of the themes, and then the result is like this. For example, a dark theme. If you select, for example, another theme, for example, the gray theme, you will have more different colors, or brown, or these kind of things. There's also a system theme, which is not predefined by Teletas, but your operating system will then define the colors. But okay, it's up to you, it's up to the customer, the end user, to play with it, because everybody has his preferences in color and looks. Maybe in the winter you like more darker color, or in the summer you like pink color. It's up to the customer. Or young people have more like more fresh colors. It's up to the customer. So the search menu here, a few examples. You add, for example, here light, and then he will show you all the lights. It's not the best example, I would say, because there are always a lot of lights in the house. But maybe you want to control something in the garden shed, and you don't know where it exactly is, especially if you work with sections. You just set shed, for example, and he will find it for you. So there's a favorites menu. So every function, every card, if you go, for example, to a light, you can add that card to the favorites. It's not like in the past that you can click longer on the function to add it to the favorites. Now you have a star indication, like here on the left button of the screen, you have this star. So if you open a card, you can activate that star or not, and then if you activate that, it will be thrown, that function will be thrown into a favorite screen. Even a camera, you can add there everything. But then they're thrown one by one after one. So maybe the sorting is not okay, is not your preferred sorting. Well, you just click on the card you want to change, like here, whoop, and you slide it to another position. Okay, you slide, whoops, you see, you just slide it to another position, and the customer has his favorite cards on the favorite position. Okay. Switching between cameras, we have also an example. So you go to the camera screen, then you see the camera, and you can just slide with your finger from the right to left or left to right, and you can see one camera after another. You stay in the camera screen. It's very simple. Okay, you can go also, there's a special camera button on the lower right corner for people who often use it, and you can go faster. So for multiple installations, as I told you, you can have different installations, for example, home, office, this kind of thing. So you click on the arrow from the favorites button here, you click on the arrow, you select a certain location, and moving from one location to another will take a few seconds, and then you are there and you have all the functions in front of you. For large installations, I told you can work with sections. Well, there's a new button here. It's a floating action button. So the button, you can slide it anywhere you like it on the screen, but normally it's by default it's lower right corner. And so if you click on that section button, you have the different sections, and you can say, okay, show me the things only, for example, here we have three sections. And we have all sections as well as button. So the top one is all sections. If you click there, then it comes like normal, I would say. But if you take one of the selections, then the rooms, the list of rooms, the list of rooms which will be on your app is limited to the section you have been selecting. So how do you work with sections in ProSoft? Well, there are a few screen captures here in ProSoft, starting from 4010 version. You have the possibility, if you go to the room, so you have the rooms icon, or in the edit menu, you can go to the rooms, you can add rooms. But now if you click here on the type of list, you can select between rooms and sections. So the first thing you do is adding all your rooms in the menu, and then you go to sections and you add also your sections. Okay, so for example here, ground floor, first floor, second floor. Maybe in a professional application, it's here on the slide, for example, sales department, administration, production, warehouse. It depends, it doesn't need to be floors, it can be zones or whatever it is. So you just name it, and then you go back to the rooms, and every room by default is connected to all sections, like the lowest example here. But you can say, for example, entrance, you click on the entrance, and then you can, at the right side, it's not here on my screen capture, but on the right side, you can select then the section where it belongs. So for example, here, entrance, living room, etc., everything is on the ground floor. There's a bathroom and a bathroom on the first floor, and the garden is in the section outdoor. It's also an example of a section. Then there's a technical room somewhere on the second floor, and there's an alarm room. People who know the working of the alarm keypad on the Opus knows that the alarm is also considered as a room. It's a certain virtual room in the house. So I would say the alarm room, you can leave it on all sections. So any section you go to, you will find there the alarm room. So the first reactions of customers who are working and experiencing the ATMOS, I have some examples of that. So somebody answered, now there's no delay anymore at startup, always connected, which makes using ATMOS very fast. So ATMOS is much faster than the ISGUI due to these kind of things. Somebody else, I like the new dimmer control with the left-right clicking difference. So, on the left side, you can just dim on and off, for example. But if you click on the right side, you get that slider. When I just want to light blah, 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 it's always here. It speeds up to use the ATMOS very much. So again, facilities speeding up working with ATMOS. In our experience, in the first time looks to an ATMOS, people like want to see how it looks like, etc. But after using 1 week, 2 weeks, then the efficiency of the device, of the software, of the app, becomes more and more important. Design becomes maybe a little bit at the background, but the convenience. And so we worked a lot of, we spend a lot of time in the user interface. ATMOS now gives me a comparable control feeling with the new functions button, like I have on my Opus. Also, Opus have also the functions button to start from functions instead from rooms. And so when I want to control all lights in my house, it helps me to work very fast. Same for the cameras overview. So again, higher efficiency. Simpler also in using of the interface. In our building, we have 46 rooms. Now with the new ATMOS with sections, it's very simple and faster to select a specific room. Okay, again, we see the word faster here. So again, efficiency is very high. Employees who are not familiar with the building often use the search button. So if they want to look for office Martin, for example, they just type office and they have all the offices in front of their app, or they type Martin and every function which is related to Martin will appear on the screen. It's very, very efficient as well. I like my personal color scheme dark. Having the possibility to change it is a nice feature. Maybe it will change. I will change the theme to pink when it's summer. So that was a remark of the IS-GUI. In the IS-GUI, the color scheme was fixed by Teletask, and now you can have some more freedom. Somebody else told, I'm looking forward to a next release where I can make my own moods on the smartphone and can see the graphs of my energy generation and consumption. Energy management parameter settings on ATMOS would be great as well. Well, the answer here, thanks for your feedback. We are already working on it. So ATMOS version is not something static. IS-GUI, there was not so much changing in the IS-GUI, but now due to the fact that we are working with the subscription model, with the SaaS model, there will be a continuous development going on the ATMOS app. So you can expect a regular update, especially in the beginning. We will offer regular updates with new features coming. We have very nice extra features, which we don't mention here, in our pipeline, so much more than mentioned here. Somebody else told, okay, the cards on my favorite screen were a little messed up until I found out that I can sort the different cards myself. Great. And I don't need to call my system integrator, so the customer himself is in charge of that. He can fine-tune his cards in the favorite screen. Like the moods, and so also the customer in the future release, the customer will be able to make his own moods in his own ATMOS app. That will be very powerful, very nice for those customers. Somebody else thought, I have tried the alphabetical room sorting option in the ATMOS settings menu. It looks nice for a large building, but I prefer to work with sections. So that's personal feeling for the customer. Somebody else told, so happy with the cameras which I have put in my favorite screen. So that's very nice. You can have all your favorites together, including the cameras. About marketing, this training is made for professionals, so a little bit about marketing. So what do we have as marketing tools and information tools for you? Of course, we have a data sheet, although it's a subscription. It's not a real product. It's not a license either, the ATMOS. It's a subscription, but we have made a data sheet for it, and it's available, of course, on the Teletask website under the Downloads chapter. There's also a leaflet, a commercial leaflet. A leaflet is a two-page document which is supposed for non-technical people. So it describes the ATMOS in a very short way, a compact way with some advantages for the end user. Sometimes evolved non-technical people like architects, indoor decorators, they don't want to read about the bits and the bytes, but they just want to read about the functionalities, etc. It's also on the Teletask website in 3 languages, datasheet and leaflet, English, Dutch, and French language. Also info on Teletask website. So if you go to the Teletask website in products, there is a user interfaces chapter. If you go to the user interfaces, you will there find also, or the end user, the website visitor, will find a description about the ATMOS there. For the subscription itself, of course, it's a Teletalk subscription, which is on TT-Ecom, as you are used already for the other subscriptions, like for voice control and remote services. And therefore, you need a professional login, and you can obtain there the ATMOS app for your customer. If you prefer, as a professional, as a system integrator, not to buy it with your credit card, the subscription, it's not a problem. Together with your customer, you go to the TT-Ecom platform, you make an account for him with his credit card, and you can just obtain ATMOS in a very fast way. There is no installation needed in ProSoft, because we're not talking about a license anymore. We are only working with this subscription system, the SaaS model. So don't worry about it. There is nothing to be installed in your ProSoft. But in ProSoft, of course, you have to generate your ISGUI. You go into GUIsoft, which is a part of ProSoft, and there you generate your ISGUI. And basically, it's just clicking on a button, on the automatic generation button, and your ISGUI is ready. As you may know, you can do some fine-tunings. For example, if a certain room, you don't want it to appear on the screen of the user and his ATMOS, okay, you can fine-tune it. You can sort also rooms, change the sorting, things like we are used from ISGUI as well. So there's also a TT School ATMOS configuration movie on how to configure and install the ATMOS, just in brief, more for end users, I think, than for professionals. That is about the software installation. So next, to clarify, because there are a lot of questions about what is going to happen or happening or happened with ISGUI. What if my customer has an ISGUI? What if my customer doesn't have a GUI? ISGUI, is there difference, etc. So let's walk through some more of these questions. First one is, will existing customers with an ISGUI, so somebody has a Teletask installation and an ISGUI, so a working app, what is the benefit for them to move to the new subscription system, to move to the ATMOS app? Well, yes, there is an advantage if the ISGUI was activated in 2019 or more recent. What is the advantage? Well, the customer with an existing ISGUI doesn't have to pay for the subscription, depending on the age of his ISGUI. So the activation date, the activation year of the ISGUI is important here. So imagine that the customer bought in 2021 an ISGUI. It was activated by the system integrator in 2021. Then you can see here that the customer can use 2 years free of charge the ATMOS subscription. So if you want to buy it on the TT-Ecom, TT-Ecom will tell you, okay, you have 2 years left. So you can use it until the end of 2026. Beware, these dates are not changing anymore. So it's not if you wait another year that the 26 becomes 27. No, it's a fixed date. So I would say somebody who bought recently a new, for example, more recently a third generation central unit, a G3 central unit, in his installation, so Palace or Domus central unit, then you will get 4 years plus 4 years, because it depends on the date, but up to 1st of January of 2028. I would say it's 31st December of 2027, but at 1/1/2028 he has or she has to go and to pay for a new subscription. ISGUI is older than 2018, activation dates older than 2018 or older, they have to buy the subscription already. So the information is on the TT-Ecom website. If you want to know how is the situation, you just go to TT-Ecom, you log into that installation, and you will see that information, that activation date, and if there's a remaining free of charge subscription available, sorry. Other question, is it interesting for an existing ISGUI user, again, with activation date 2019 or more recently, we have seen that in that table, to continue working with ISGUI instead of moving to ATMOS? Is it interesting to do that? Well, no, it is not interesting, because the end dates, as I told you, are not moving. So the end date is, for example, 2027. So if you wait, it doesn't shift anymore. So the customer can move already today. There's no reason to stay with ISGUI, because ISGUI will also have at a certain moment will stop. You cannot install it anymore on the stores, or your new smartphone is not able to run 32 bits anymore. So there's no reason. If you move today, then you're ready for the future. You can buy a new smartphone, or it will not disappear from the stores, etc. So there's no reason to wait. You have only advantages if you go to the ATMOS app for every ISGUI user. Question, what is the yearly subscription cost? Well, the subscription cost is fixed on TT Ecom platform, and it's €89 per year. It's about €7.5 per month, and it's only available on TT Ecom. You can also buy a subscription for longer periods, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. The total cost per year will be lower, of course, if you go for more years. Don't forget, there's always an inflation percentage every year. So if the customer, for example, buys for 10 years, that's $6.99, I believe, the price. If it goes for 10 years, then he gets rid of all of these price increases, and so he has a big advantage, of course. So he will win, and the price per year will be very low in that case. Who buys the subscription? Well, I told you already, we assume that the end user will purchase the subscription in many cases, but it's really depending on the system integrator, depending on the local habits and culture in the country. So it's just like the other TSF subscriptions, the other subscriptions from Teletask. Also, the integrator can buy it. It depends. In some countries, people are used and agree that there's a yearly service cost, for example, for the electrical installation, for the home automation installation. Then it would be advisable that the system integrator buys the subscription, pays for the subscription fee, because the system integrator is not locked to the €89 cost. You can make, for example, a contract, like it's a habit in some countries, to say, for example, there's a maintenance contract we make for a certain number, hundreds of euros per year, or maybe thousands of euros per year, and the ATMOS subscription is a part of it. So then it can be much more profitable for the system integrator. But if you don't want to do the administration of the payment and the renewal of a subscription, you can say, okay, let's have it bought by the customer himself. It's up to you. So another question, is ISGUI technically end of life? Well, it always comes back, the technical transitions from ISGUI to ATMOS. The latest smartphones will not go with 30-bit anymore, etc., etc. It's about the same question as I answered already. So how long will it work, the ISGUI? As soon as it's installed on your smartphone, and your smartphone has a long life, etc., etc., will it stop working? Well, we think not, as long as your smartphone will not be defect, for example, or you don't need to reinstall the app for any reason. There is no specific reason that it would stop working. Locally, anyhow, not. The cloud connection, we will not keep on working endlessly for ISGUI, because it's a quite expensive process. But Teletask offers this transition program to make it able for ISGUI users to go to ATMOS without big headaches. Quite simple. If the installation is older, okay, they have to pay for the subscription, but there's a easy flow to the new system. So we would say, okay, there's no reason to wait. Is Teletask doing any developments on ISGUI? No, we don't do it. It would be useless, as you have understood already. Another question, is it correct that the customer will always be able to continue working locally with ISGUI when the ISGUI cloud connection will cease to exist? Probably end of 2025, we think that may be the ending of the ISGUI cloud connection, so that there's only the ATMOS cloud connection anymore. Well, the reasons are again the same. Don't forget about 64-bit. Any question you may have in the same way, it always leads to the same answer. There is hardly no reason to be found to stay with ISGUI. Of course, some people like the ISGUI very much. It's a very good app. It has been very successful. So some people will say, okay, no, why should we change? I can do anything on my ISGUI which I want and which I need to do, and that's understandable. But there's somewhere an ending point, and it's better not to wait until it's really at a certain moment not working anymore, or not possible to install it anymore. If the customer needs to do something urgently, or imagine a young child comes from school with his bicycle, comes home and wants to enter the house, but the ISGUI is not working anymore. I think it's not very convenient, comfortable, and maybe not a safe situation in that case. So be prepared, I would say. Tell your customers to move on time to the new app. Another question, how can Generation 2 customers move to ATMOS? So G2 customers are customers from Micros Plus, Nanos, and Picos central units. Well, there are two possible scenarios. The customer has an ISGUI license, like the examples we used already. He needs to install, first of all, ProSoft 4.010. So that's important. If he still works with ProSoft 3, a lot of them still do that. That's fine, okay. But if you want to go to ATMOS, ProSoft 4 needs to run on these G2 central units. And then they can install the ATMOS app at no cost, unless it is older already. The ISGUI activation date is already older than 2019. This is the same table as the one we showed in one of the other slides. And there's a second scenario. The installation has no ISGUI mobile app. The customer needs to work with a ProSoft 4, and he needs to buy the ATMOS subscription, of course. Next question is, will Teletas support ISGUI and ProSoft 5? ProSoft 5 is a new, completely rewritten software for G3 central units, coming after the summer 2023, I would say fourth quarter of 2023. So from then on, you have to say also, if you would like to go to ProSoft 5, you don't need to, of course. You can stay working with ProSoft 4 on G3, but if you want to go to ProSoft 5, and we can promise you there will be a lot of novelties there, on your G3 you stay with ProSoft 4, yes, it will work. Go to ProSoft 5, no. It needs to go from ISGUI to ATMOS. So again, same situation. This is another case, another situation, but again, the result is move to ATMOS. So all G3 installations with an activated ISGUI license are from recent dates, activation dates, fourth quarter of 2022 or later. So most of them are from 2023. So it means that an ATMOS subscription is needed, but it will be free of charge until end of 26 or 27. So there's no cost for G3 users with an ISGUI license, which is a quite young license. But no problems until, for most of the customers, until 1st January of 2028. Another question, is the ATMOS app password protected? Well, yes, it can be. And by default, ATMOS will ask you a password because in ProSoft there is a default user password, like a PIN code, which is 12345. So if you open the ATMOS for the first time, the device will ask you for a password. You have to enter 12345. You can memorize that password in your ATMOS. You can click the memorize button, and then you will never ask it anymore. If there is a security issue, I would say imagine that the smartphone is not protected with the face recognition or fingerprint or something, or with a password, which I would absolutely not recommend to work, but okay. Imagine that it's existing, then I would advise, of course, never to memorize the password because everybody can go into your ATMOS without any protection anymore. So if the smartphone is not protected with password, the ATMOS can. That's a very nice feature as well. In GUISoft, you need to activate the password protection checkbox. So here you can say ask for passcode when connecting with app to central unit. You can activate and disactivate that function. So if your smartphone, your tablet is provided with the standard password protection, you don't need to do anything. That's not necessary. The same password, I go back one slide, the same password here, it's a user password, is used also if you protect individual functions. You can say in ProSoft, protect this function, for example, opening of the front door or a garage door or a gate is not allowed without a password. You can protect that functionality, and then if you, on the ATMOS, there will be on your card of the ATMOS to open the gate, for example, there will be a little lock, an icon of a lock appearing, just to tell, okay, this is a protected function. If you click on that card, he will first ask you, a keyboard will appear on your screen of the ATMOS, and you have to type this user password, which you can always change, of course. So there's also an individual protection of buttons. Another question, we're almost there. What are the updates to expect after May 2023, after the first initial release of ATMOS app? Well, there are some things which we have in the pipeline. Normally everything which we have in the plant in the pipeline will appear, but as you know, it's software, so we don't 100% guarantee that it will come, all of it, but it's planned, so you can suppose that it will come. There will be regular updates. Teletask has a dedicated team working on ATMOS development, so these updates will come regularly. Most functions, beware, most functions expected in the next releases may be only on ProSoft 5, so only for G3 central units. So these extras, these interesting extras, may come only for G3 central units. That's the Palace and the Domus central unit. Porta Insight. So the Porta app, for those who know the Porta app, it's a local app for access control logging, I would say. So you can check who's been entering your house if you use the Teletask access control devices, the proximity reader. Now it will come also in one of the next releases in the ATMOS app, included. I would say there's no extra charge for it. And so you can also from remote side, that's a big difference with ISGUI Porta version, that it's also from remote side. Graphs, there will be energy, temperature, sensor information from, whatever. If you have, like in Belgium, the Netherlands, we have the P1 smart meter interface, so people can see the energy consumed by the house, energy generated by photovoltaic panels, they can see on a graphic screen. Like on the Opus is there as well. It will come also in the ATMOS. Moods can be defined by the user, as we have been telling. Extended audio controls and feedback. Messages and alarms notifications, they are not yet there, but they will come also in ATMOS. Push notifications, that means even if the app is not active, if you're looking to your agenda on your smartphone and there is a notification, it may come also on your smartphone. Different configurations, so specific configurations per user. So it's not yet possible at this moment, but for example, you can make a different, completely different ISGUI setting, ATMOS setting, sorry, for the children compared to, for example, the cleaning lady or man and the parents, for example. And the cleaning person can do only specific things, is not supposed to control. The audio, for example, well, you can make these settings, configurations different. Geofencing function, that is something which will be controlled by the central unit. So the central unit will check if your smartphone gets, for example, closer and becomes within a certain area, a zone around your house, then actions can be taken. So this is some information which comes from the ATMOS, which is told to the central unit, and the central unit will be able to take actions. Also, of course, only for G3 installations. And geolocation is the, I would say, application from the other side. That's an action taken from the ATMOS side. I don't have information myself at this moment what kind of features there will be, but one of the applications of geofencing is, for example, that your gate will automatically open when you're walking or driving with your car or bicycle coming home. Your gate will be opened automatically in front of you even before you are there, depending on the settings in your screen. So if you have suggestions or ideas about other ATMOS features, we would be very happy to receive them through your, you send them through your Teletask contact, or you can just send them to info@teletask.be, and you just mention in your title suggestions for ATMOS, and don't expect that it will be coming in the app very soon, but all the ideas are put in a list, and then depending on the importance, they will be handled. So we hope that you, or I hope that you enjoyed the ATMOS training. Thank you for spending the time. Don't hesitate to contact your Teletask contact person, your supplier, if you have any further questions, or if you want to obtain the ATMOS subscription, you can go to the website with this link, or just go to the Teletask website, click TTEcom, and there you can buy the necessary subscription. What I didn't mention is here that ATMOS is also having a demo version, so you can install it from the stores, install it on your device. So even so you have two possibilities. You will be asked if you want to work locally or remotely via the cloud, and or if you like, you can go for a demo. So then your smartphone will connect automatically with our cloud demo installation. It's a live central unit which is working. There's a camera, so you can go like with the ESGUI. You had also the demo version, but there's another thing as well. You can also, without buying a subscription, the customer can test it, or you can test it at the customer's location. You can give a demo at your customer's location, if they have a Teletask system, of course, and you can connect the ATMOS to the local Wi-Fi network, for example, of the customer, and give him a demo, and it will work for 3 days. So that's also a good way of working. You don't need to buy a subscription, for example, for training purposes, for demonstration on open door or other events, or for schools, for example. They don't need to buy any subscription. The students can work with it without any cost. So thank you again, and good luck with all your ATMOS projects.